Our internet's down, unfortunately. Of course, it had to go down today.
Oh
So,
no, that, you know what? That's the second time this week that that's happened to me with someone.
all right, well, that makes me feel bad then.
Oh no, well I'll try to be quick so that I don't suck up all of your data, Darlene. And I'll just go into the important pieces of the program. I know course planning was a big thing for you guys with HB5, but I'll share kind of the basic components of the program too. Everybody familiar with career cruising? Or will this be kind of new for everyone?
No, we need to start from the top.
All right, we'll start from the top. So program is all online. When we set it up, we integrate with your student information system so that the student data is always up to date. So that's kind of nice as well that the two programs interface. One of the things that you get when you set up as well is a success manager and also IT support in terms of that integration and getting things going with the SIS. With your success manager, they'll build a customized implementation plan for you. So not to worry about the training or how things will go with the program. Try not to focus on that as I walk you through because you'll have support through the whole thing. Just wanted to get that out of the way from the get-go. So I'll sign in. And I also wanted to share we're almost at the point where we're about to release an app for the program as well. This is accessible from any mobile device, but it's going to be a lot more mobile-friendly very shortly as well. So when a student logs in, typically the first step is to have them go through some of our assessment tools to help to connect the students to careers that are well suited for their skills, abilities, talents, and interests. And then from there they can explore the careers, start to understand what's involved with each one and how that ties in with their own unique situation. And the program then helps them to determine what courses that they need to take to ensure that they're setting themselves up for the college program that they want to get into or the career that they want to get into. It kind of takes them through start to finish the whole career planning process to actually put those plans into action. From there, they can then explore financial aid options, college options, and there's even an employment tab with skill building on resume writing, interview skills, as well as kind of job search and those kinds of skills as well. So I'll take you through all of that today. I also like to point out that the program is available in English and Spanish with the click of a button here. So it is completely bilingual anywhere within the program. So with the assessment tools, we have 4 different assessments. Some of the better assessments seen, although I know I'm very biased, but I have had a look at quite a lot of assessments. And one thing that is unique about ours is it gives a ranked list of career options for students, and they're ranked by suitability based on those assessment results, so based on their skills and abilities. The results also give the student a full, clear picture of why that career was recommended, which you'll see in a minute as well. So that's within the Matchmaker My Skills and Ability Profiler. That's an interest inventory, a self-assessment of skills, as well as an aptitude test, so a more true reflection of their skills and abilities. And then we also have a learning styles inventory, very self-explanatory. The student will go through a series of 20 student-focused questions, asking them how they prefer to learn in class, how they prefer to do various activities or things, and it'll generate a broken down list of their own learning style. Today I'll focus mainly on the student side, but I also like to add that we have a parent portal so parents can stay engaged in what their kids are doing, message to teachers and advisors. They can also explore what their child is doing within career cruising. So it's kind of a neat way to keep them connected. And there's also the back end of the program here where you guys will spend a lot of your time running reports, managing students, and really trying to pull any useful information that you can out. And pretty much anything that the students, are doing on their end, you can run reports on the back end. Hopefully I can get this in here. There we go. So not quite as pretty, but everything that you need is right here down the left. Lots of really good, useful reports. I'll go into some of the ones that are pretty relevant for you guys in Texas. But just to show how easy it is to run a report, for example, on the learning styles that I just showed, you just jump into your students' portfolio reports. You can customize what group of students you want to run the report on. And you click a button. There we go. Here's all the learning styles for my group of students. If I want to see who my visual learners are, I can click in here. I've got them all there in a nice clean list. If I want to see any student in particular, I can have her exact assessment results there right in front of me. You can also export any of this data into an Excel file if you want to have just kind of the raw data in front of you to have a look at as well. So jumping back, I'm guessing you guys are probably more interested in seeing kind of the skills and interest inventories, because I know those are a good starting point to help connect students to careers. So these ones, the students can answer a potential 160 plus questions in total on their skills and interests, but it will generate a list of results after the first 39 responses. So if you want to have the students do this over a number of days or weeks or months, or even have them break it over the years, you can do that and not have to have them complete all of those questions. So it's pretty flexible in how you use the program. But this is a student who would have gone through and answered all of the questions. And the reason you're seeing a lot of red there is because I didn't get any of the aptitude questions right when I went through the demo, just kind of clicked through. So hopefully your students wouldn't see quite so much needs improvement in their results. So as I mentioned, it's going to give a list of 40 career results, and they're all ranked by suitability. So at the top of my list will be the most suitable careers, and then it goes down the list from there. I also get my top 2 recommended career clusters based on my assessment results, and I can filter out my results by level of education if I'd like to. So if I want to know, hey, what are my options straight out of high school, you can click a button to update that. And you can see here, I still get a good list of viable career options, but you can see how it really does change my career outlook if I increase the level of education that I'm getting. And please stop me at any point if you guys have any questions at all. You're a little bit quieter than me, so I might not hear them come up. So at the top of the list here, I have Human Resources Specialist. If the student wants to know why that career was recommended, I can click on that, and it's going to take me right to a tab called Suitable for You. And I get to see all of the career information listed here, so all the central aspects, all the secondary aspects, and I get my response to those things down the side here, so I can understand how I feel about the things that will be involved in this career. If I scroll down a bit further, I can see how my aptitude results tie into what would be involved in this career, and I can also see how my skills tie in. So we've got the core skills and desirable skills broken down here. So I get a really good picture of why this career was recommended for me based on those results that I've given. To the same effect, if I want to see a career that was not in my list, and I'll use the example of veterinarian because I know that's one that a lot of kids like to go for, any career that's not in their assessment results, they can still tie into what their assessment results were. So if I jump into the Suitable for You tab for veterinarian, which didn't come up in my list, you can see that I love all the central aspects, I love all the secondary aspects, but when it comes down to some of those other things that as a student I probably haven't considered yet about this job, a lot of those fall under dislike or dislike very much. So getting your hands or clothes dirty, being away from home regularly, having to cope with unpleasant or upsetting situations on a regular basis, working evenings or weekends. Again, lots of things I may not have considered, but when it comes down to the day-to-day work, these are things that will probably make my career pretty unenjoyable for me over the long run. If you go down even further here, you can see that the top 3 core skills that I'm lacking in those skills as well. So although I might be very good at this job based on where my skills and interests fall, it might not be the best option for me long term. It's kind of neat to get a pretty good overview of why a career was recommended or also why one wasn't, so that the student can start to understand themselves better and start to plan out their career a little bit better. For each of the careers as well, we always have this starting point, the at a glance page. So this is a good point to get a good overview of the career. It caters to all the different learning styles too. So we've got pictures and videos and clips and things that they can go through. This also has just all of the important information for the career all on one page, so I can learn a little bit about it and decide if I want to dive in a little bit deeper here. I can also click a button to save any career to my plan as I'm going through. We also have, obviously, the job description, working conditions. Earnings range is a good one as well. This will always be defaulted to Texas. But because this is just a generic demo account for my purposes, it was on New York. So here we go. You can see my Texas wages from entry right up to experienced, and that's broken down hourly and annually for me, as well as a career outlook. So it gives me an idea of what the rate of growth is, how many average annual openings there are. Good way to get the lay of the land in terms of whether or not this job is on the rise or if it's a competitive field to get into. I also can see my level of education required. This gives me some links to the related college programs, and that'll actually list for them which schools offer those college programs so they can start to make those connections as well. And other suggested qualifications beyond just academics that'll help to enhance my chances of being successful in this field, as well as a sample program of study. And in a couple minutes, I'm going to jump into that course planner that'll help you guys out with House Bill 5. So this will come into play because the students can start to connect their course selections to the careers that they're interested in pursuing. Something else that I like to show, I know a lot of counselors like this section to be kind of a reality check for students, is the sample career path. This gives the student an idea of what their life's going to look like once they graduate. So probably not going to be earning the big bucks straight out of school. You have to kind of work your way up the ranks. And this gives a realistic understanding of what the earnings and requirements and responsibilities would be at each one of those levels. And then maybe this isn't for me, but I want to have a look at some of the related careers. I can do that. For example, a couple of these were actually in my list, like zoologist and marine biologist. So maybe I don't want to operate on animals, but I'm still very interested in studying them. And then we've also interviewed a man and a woman in each role. And again, these are good resources to direct the students to as well. You get a good idea of what it's like to actually be in this career. There's question and answer period. I get to see what a day in the life of this person is typically, even an hourly breakdown of their activities. So, for example, in this situation, if I'm not a people person, this probably isn't a very good job for me. If I'm a really creative person who likes to make or create things, terrible job for me because I spend 0 hours per day doing things like that. You can also watch a video on advice or hear some sound clips. Again, we try to cater to all the different learning styles within the program. Students can also search out careers any number of ways. You can see up here across the top. So if they just want to search out by subject of interest or cluster of interest, military careers, they can do all of that as well. So lots of different ways to find lots of really good career information and start to save that into their plans. Any questions on any of that so far in the group?
Can you tell us about lesson plans that go along with this?
Yes. So when you sign on, we provide a number of documents for you. You also get a success manager. They share typical scope and sequence with the program, recommended things that you would have the students do at each level. So you can actually see that right here. This is something that this progress bar is something that we will help you to customize for the student, so that when they come in here, it'll actually walk them through step by step which part of the program that they have to do. So when we set it up with you, we go through that with you under the portfolio completion standards, and we kind of tick various boxes with you depending on what your goals with the students are at each grade level, so that the lesson plans kind of take themselves through what you should do. So today we're going to be going through the career matchmaker. Tomorrow we're going to be going through my skills. So we share all of that with you when you set up. We also have an implementation guide that we share with you. I don't have all of those resources right here. That's something that we give you when we actually set the program up. Once the student, sorry, did you guys have any other questions on that?
Are the lesson plans an additional fee?
No, no. Everything's incorporated into the pricing. And Darlene, I think I've given you pricing already.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't have any hidden fees or anything. Everything's included in it. So any IT support that you need to get, any additional support you want from your success manager, they're there throughout the year. They're actually incentivized as well on the, given their name, on the success of your account. So if you guys aren't happy with it, or if you choose not to renew, that's a hit for them. So you have a vested interest within the success manager to have these things working smoothly. So they're pretty good about checking in regularly and making sure that you guys are enjoying the program, using the program, and that everyone's trained up. And yeah, training comes along with that too. You'll go through 4 live 1-hour webinars, and you can pick and choose when you want to take those. So lots of support. So the course planning piece is probably a huge one for you guys. I know it's a favorite amongst Texas clients with House Bill 5 coming out and needing to have these in place. It's also really good for the student because course planning can be kind of overwhelming. It's always they need to look to their counselor to kind of give them guidance on what courses that they need to take, but they might not understand why they're taking those courses. This actually helps them to understand the relevance of courses that they're taking, because it helps to connect them to their future plans, and they take a little bit more onus in guiding their own course selections with the help of you guys as the counselors. So this one here is set up as a sample 10th grader. You can see all my credit history here. All these marks down in here at the right-hand side are my marks that I've achieved in those past courses. This one is set up as a semester program, so you can see as my 10th grade marks, I've got some of them in here, but not some of the other ones. But it is really customizable, so if you have trimester programs, we can do that as well. And I want to start mapping out my 11th year. So I can come up here to this little suitcase, really neat. It'll actually guide me right back to my list of saved careers. So these are all careers that were interesting to me that I have saved in my plan. Maybe I've narrowed it down to architecture. I really want to become an architect. I can click on that, and I can see suggested framework of courses that I should be taking. And these are just general courses, but I'll be able to map them out to the courses that you guys actually offer at your high school. So I know that maybe in 12th grade I need to take pre-calculus. We'll actually get your course handbook or your course guide, whatever you guys call it there. We'll upload it into our system and customize it to the way that you have those courses offered. We'll also map out the prerequisites and the future courses so that it validates the students' course selections for them. We can also enter in all of your endorsements and sequences so that the students can track those as well. So, for example, if I wanted to add my 12th grade math credit, these are the 3 courses that would be offered at my school. You can make course recommendations too, and those will pop up for the students that this is the recommended course that you take. So I'll click on calculus, for example. You can see my course descriptions here. This blue box is just telling me, this is a note that my counselor would have customized. It's letting me that the course is 2 hours in duration versus maybe the typical 1-hour course. I can see all the prereqs. I can see the one I'm picking, and if there are any future courses. But this is a 12th grade course, so there aren't any. And if I add that in my plan, you'll see here that I've got a big red bubble. So as I mentioned, we map out all the prereqs and future courses based on your handbook. So this is actually going to validate my course selection. This one's telling me, wait, you haven't yet selected your 11th grade math credit, so you're missing the prerequisite. So if at any point I wanted to submit my course plan, this is going to stop me from doing so until I fixed everything that's wrong with it. So to show you what that looks like, I can come in here. Here are the math courses offered in 11th grade. I'll sign up for the prereq course. You can see now I'm taking the prereq by the green dot, planning the future course with this orange dot over here. Click to add that to my plan, and right away it'll take care of that error message for me, and now all that's left is that note telling me that this is 2 hours long. So kind of neat. You can customize any notes that you want. If you want to alert students to dual enrollment credits, additional course fees, you can even specify recommended grade thresholds for them. And any of those things you can run reports on. So if your students aren't, you can run a report to compile all the kids that aren't taking the recommended courses for them. You can compile a list of all the kids that aren't meeting the recommended grade threshold for a particular course. You can run a credit summary report or a course student count by course report. So you start to try to map out staffing needs, get out if your kids are doing this in 8th grade. But what's really neat, if I show you a full planner here, so here the students mapped out all their 11th grade courses. Again, all these blue bubbles, they're fine. They're just my counselor's notes to me. You can also click on, you can customize little external links. So if you want to have maybe a link to a tech design website in this case, you can do that, which is kind of neat. Or you can attach the course syllabus, anything you want to have attached to each course. The student can also track where they are in terms of their grad requirements, and they can track their endorsements. So again, this is a generic account. My Texas account is under construction because I have some big meetings this week that they're trying to customize it for. But so this one, unfortunately, right now is generic, but this will speak to Texas language typically. So I can see where I am in terms of my basic grad requirements. And down here where it says concentration, this would typically say endorsements. So the student will have a big, long drop-down list. They can click on that endorsement and track where they are in terms of earning the credits towards that endorsement, which is kind of neat. So it's really easy to track where they are in terms of their basic grad requirements. So I know I've got the requirements to actually graduate, but also track my endorsements. This is important on the back end as well because you can track all of this stuff back here under your course planner reports. I think you've got about 40 plus customizable reports back here. One of the more important ones that you'll be running is your person's report. For whoever is involved with the coding of the students, I'm sure you know it's not a very fun task. So we will actually, as I mentioned, enter all your sequences in here so that the program can auto-code the students for you as zeros, ones, or twos. So you can see here, I'm going to run a report on my 11th graders. Takes a couple seconds to come up because my computer is terribly slow. And there we go. I've got all my 11th graders listed here, and it codes them right down the right-hand side as 0, 1, or 2. If they are taking a sequence, we've got the name of the sequence here, the name of the courses, or the name of the courses that they're taking towards that. You can see any already earned, any that they're currently in, and any intended credits as well. And this is an all exportable to Excel, so it's a nice, clean way of doing things, quick and easy, and error-free. We have entered those sequences in the program correctly. I'm getting to this point. You guys probably have some questions for me.
I don't know if we have questions. We're just saying that this is really a neat component. We like that they're coded.
Yeah, no, it's really neat. If you ever come across any errors or anything in the code too, we can fix them like within minutes. It's just because we've entered something in correctly in there incorrectly. So yeah, it's a nice way. I know some districts. I was talking to Eagle Pass, who's looking to come on board, and they have to code like 4,000 students manually, which I think that would do my head in. Yeah, so lots of really neat reports and things that you can use within the program. We've made some of them that are just customized to our Texas clients to help make your lives easier as well. And even within the course planning, it's really neat that the students are able to kind of map out their courses according to what they want to do, and they're making sure that they're on track with their credits things. I can even track what courses I'm taking towards specific clusters. So if I'm really interested in a STEM career pathway, you can see here I'm taking 3 that are directly relevant to those college programs. So it's kind of neat in that respect. And then when they do actually submit their course plan, I'm going to get a course plus sign-off sheet here. And this is something that I can take home to my parent or guardian. It's going to have all my credit history listed on it right here. They'll be able to see right here where I am in terms of my grad requirements, so which ones I have actually earned, which ones I have planned, and how many credits I have left remaining before I can graduate. And then you can see all of those course requests listed here for the following year, as well as any of those additional notes that my counselor has specified for each course. And then the parent or guardian can sign off on that, student can sign off on it, counselor can sign off, and you can file it away and move forward with scheduling. So very neat. I know it's a lot of information, and usually people are concerned about, like, how am I going to learn how to use this? We do give extensive training on the course planner, so please don't worry about that, because I know it is sometimes a concern. So we do, as I mentioned, you go through 4-hour-long trainings on this, and you'll be an expert by the time you've gone through all of that. So it teaches you how to use the back end of the program as well. Something else that I should show is anytime you want to see a student's course plan, you can see it on the front end too. You can run mass reports on all of your students, or if you want to see one student in particular, you can come to your student list here, and you can just click this drop-down menu to view any part of their portfolio, including their course planner. So I'm in the advisor side now, and you can see I can see their course planner exactly as they can see it. If you want to override things, if you want to make changes for the student or submit on their behalf, you can do that back here, which is kind of neat as well. So if you wanted to see where any of your kids are in terms of their grad requirements, I've got that here just like the student would see it. You guys are an easy group if you don't have any concerns with this part. Awesome. Well, I'll move forward. Again, I don't want to take up too much of your data. So from here, now that I've kind of mapped out my courses, I know which direction I'm headed, the next logical step is to start planning for post-secondary if that's the path that I'm taking. So we also have an application tracker within the program that I'll get into in a sec, as well as all of the information that the student would need on each and every school. We pay for that information through Perkins, so it's always up to date to the year that the kid would be applying to. I believe they actually update it biannually as well, because sometimes it changes mid-year. So I can actually come into my saved schools here. I want to have a look at, for example, Baylor College, and I want to see my chances of getting in. We will plot on a graph all of the acceptance outcomes for all of your kids from your district. So all of these points, these are fictional data points. We've just put them in for the demo purposes, but we would actually plot your past graduates and what their acceptance outcome was so that any of your up-and-coming graduates can start to predict their chances of getting in based on how their peers have done. So if I want to come in here and predict my scores. I can put in my SATs. You can also put in ACTs if they want to see, as well as my GPA. Let's say I've got a 3.4. So you can see I'm kind of just shy of where the general population of past graduates for my district have done. So this can serve a couple purposes. It can be a really good motivator for kids that have their hearts set on these schools to get their marks up if they're falling on the cusp. It can also be a huge reality check for students who might be looking like this that just aren't going to make it. So although you can tell them, you know, your marks just aren't where they need to be, I don't think that you're getting into this school next year, the student can actually see it right here for themselves. It saves you having that difficult conversation. So kind of a neat way of looking at what their chances are of getting into each school, and then they can kind of rate it as a match, reach, or a safety school. They can also compare themselves just against the general population that was accepted. So if I want to see the freshman profile for any given school, I can see that right here as well. So a couple different ways to compare their scores. As I mentioned, we've got all of the school information for every school as well. So all the important admissions information for them, academic information like grad rate, retention rate, all of the programs and certifications offered, any important expenses and financial aid that they would need in-state and out-of-state. I already showed you the enrollment here. You get facilities and services, student life, athletic, and of course majors offered. And if any of those are my saved majors, that'll come up with a star here. So I know that accounting was one of my saved majors, and I can see it right here. Click in, and I'll get a description of what that program is. They can also compare schools side by side, which is kind of neat. If they want to see what's offered at each school in comparison. If I have no idea where I want to go, I can go through a series of questions, and this will actually generate a list of any schools that match up with what I'm looking for in a school. And there's also a good college planning timeline to keep students on track straight from 8th grade onwards. So it starts out with things like get involved in extracurriculars, have a conversation with your teachers and your counselors. Then when it gets up to like 10th and 11th grade, it gets them thinking about PSATs and taking the tests and getting prepared for those kinds of things. Once I start applying to the schools, tracking my applications is also going to be an overwhelming feat. So I can do that right within the program as well. Under our application tracker, and you can see this kid's added 1,000 schools because this is a demo, but when you click to add a college here, it'll populate the college, any important dates and deadlines, and the submission method, as well as all of the application requirements. So I'm just going to come to one that I have in progress here because there are so many started. And I can also click to send a transcript to that school. So this is just going to send a transcript request to my advisor. I can click OK. How that looks on the advisor side of things, or if your registrar does this, whomever gets the transcript request, we can set it up to go to them. On your home page, you'll have just a little dashboard here with all of my transcript requests. You'll also get a daily email letting you know which request came in that day. And I can see all my transcript requests. I can go into any student. You see all the student information and when they've requested that. You click Send Now. That'll populate the date that you've sent it. And then once that institution has read the transcript, it'll populate the date that they've opened and read it. So again, just an easy way to keep track of all your transcript requests. And from there, as I mentioned, we've got the deadline and submission method, application deadline here, all of the application requirements, and I can update where I am in that process so that my counselor can then keep track of where I am in that process on the back end of the program as well. There's lots of transcript requests here. I know a lot of kids have usually have a project or assignment where they have to go visit a school and either do a presentation or write a report on what they saw. We give them a little bit of a cheat sheet for that. So there's actually a printable campus visit checklist that they can bring along with them when they're going to visit the schools. We want to make sure they're not just checking out the girls, that they're actually paying attention to some of the important information that they should be. So things like atmosphere, did I attend a class? If so, how did I feel about that? If the students don't want to actually write anything, there's a little spot here to just kind of rank things out of 5 so that when they do come back to then update their account on how they felt about each school, they can generate an overall 5-star ranking and keep track of their feelings and thoughts on each school. For you guys as the counselors, we've also created a little bit of a cheat sheet for you for the students. we've got a personal college profile here, and you can either use our recommended questions or you can customize your own questions in here. But what this is a brag report for the students. So you can have them come in here when they need to, when they want to request a letter of recommendation, they can do that right through here. Send you a request, message you, and then you can request that they fill out these questions. And this is a way for them to kind of brag about all of their accomplishments and things that they've done that they're proud of throughout their high school career, as well as their goals and ambitions for the future. So that when you're writing those letters of recommendation, you can kind of customize them to the students' responses. Lastly, there's an NCAA participation checklist to keep students on task throughout junior and senior year to make sure that they're following the steps they need to take. As well, financial aid, we wanted to make sure that all of the important information for the students is in here. So we have everything from national scholarships to local scholarships, as well as any information that they would need on federal financial aid. So a lot of students don't really know what scholarships are out there, which ones they would even qualify for. All they need to go is go through a series of questions on their background and history and some of their information, and this will generate a list of any national scholarships that that student would qualify for. And I've already got one of these results lists saved in my plan, so I won't take you through all those questions. I'll just jump into that here. So here's one where I've gone through it, and the student qualifies for 108 scholarships. So you can see if I jump into any one of these, I've got all of the important scholarship information for that year. As well, on the left, this is always all the information that they would need to apply for the scholarship. Usually it's done through website or emailed. So that's all there for the student. They've also got, as I mentioned, all the information they need on federal financial aid, as well as important links to the government websites, because sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. So they can also see kind of what types of financial aid are out there. Do I even qualify for those? And if so, how do I go about applying? And that kind of walks them through step by step. We also have all of the printable forms if they want to print those out and send them in, as well as a FAFSA printable guide for them. And then, of course, probably most importantly, those local scholarships that might otherwise go unclaimed. You can customize a list here for the students so that they can really easily come in and have all of that information right in front of them. They can use the scholarship finder to narrow it down to ones that apply to them, or you can just narrow it down here down the left by merit-based, need-based, service-based, etc. So really neat way to keep them on the ball with regards to financial aid and scholarship information. And then lastly, really self-explanatory on this page, as I mentioned, a skill-building employment guide. So this takes them through kind of the 21st century work search, what's involved in things like networking, uncovering opportunities, how to even start to find job opportunities out there. And then it takes them through interview skills, resume and letter writing skills, and even skills once you're on the job, how to be appropriate, how to dress your first day, how to ensure long-term success. So all of that is within this section on the employment guide. They can search out jobs right within here as well. Let's say I wanted to see how many veterinarian positions are available in Dallas, for example. We've got 98 results, and I can actually just click on one of those. It'll take me right to that job posting. I could apply right online. So kind of neat. We wanted to keep everything that they would need right here within the program. We've also got a really quick and easy resume builder. It's as easy as dragging and dropping sections to where you want them to be, clicking to add or remove different sections, updating the important information in bullet form for each one, and then when they go to format it, they can format it any number of ways, pick different resume styles, export it to Word, clean it up so that it looks the way they want it to, and they've got a professional-looking resume in not too much time. So that's kind of, I know I've just given you a really long walkthrough. Does anybody have any questions on what they've seen so far? Or anybody want to share any thoughts on how this looks compared to what you're currently doing with the students?
Do they have access to this once they graduate?
Oh, yeah. Tell us about once they graduate. You still have access, right?
They sure do, yes. Once they graduate, they will maintain access. What we do so that they don't mess up with your reports is we tag them as inactive, which means that when you're running your reports on your students, they're not going to count as a student for you, but they'll still always be able to access their account. The only thing that won't happen is when we do upgrades to the interface, which we're about to do one, to change the look and make it a little bit more student-friendly. They'll still be on the more basic interface, but it'll still work and be active for them.
Tell us about working with Texas. How?
Yes, good question. So we can integrate with Texas. We're able to pull any information from them. The only thing that we can't do with Texas, and we can do this with any other student information system, so I'm hoping that this will change in the future as we continue to work more, because I think about 46% of districts across Texas at least have one school with us. So it's something we're working on, but the only thing we can't do with Texas is send those course requests back directly into Texas. But you can compile data on all of the course requests and use those numbers for scheduling. It's just we can't directly input them back into Texas, unfortunately. Everything else functions as it would with interface between the two programs. So we'll pull all their credit history. We'll update their student data. So if a student leaves or one comes in or one creates a duplicate account, all those things will get cleaned up as they're shown in Texas. It's just for some reason they can't accept our course request back just yet.
Okay.
Any other questions on that side of things?
Yeah. Tell us about pricing. We have two different districts here, so both of us, I think, will be, they're actually a smaller district than us, so we'll all be small school, but they don't know really about the pricing, so if you could explain that.
Who's the other district?
Gruber?
Sorry, I missed that.
Gruber?
Oh, okay. Are they around the same size as you guys?
They're smaller.
Smaller. Okay, well that helps because I think, I'm just pulling up my information here. Our base pricing is $1,500 per year per school. If you fall under a certain number of students, which I believe you guys do. Yeah, you've only got about 200 high school students, right? Okay, and if you had a larger district, the pricing is $3 per high school student, $2 per middle school, and $150 per elementary school. And then for the setup fees, for smaller districts, especially if you guys are looking to go in together, we can probably combine the setup fees. It's typically $800 per high school and $400 per middle school. And that's just a one-time fee, and that's going to cover the lifetime of your subscription. That's going to cover all of your support, all of your training, all of the setup and integration and ongoing stuff like sharing those lesson plans, updating anything that we need to for you.
What did you say was the cutoff for small school? How many students?
Whatever brings it to 1,500. So our min pricing is 1,500 per district.
But did you have a specific number of students?
I'm trying to do the math here. I think it's about...
I gave you 375 maybe was my number I gave you, and you said that we qualified for small school?
Yes, yeah. So you'd be at the 1,500 mark.
Okay. So
yeah, you'll definitely be, because some of those were middle school students, correct?
Yes, about 100.
Yeah, no, you're definitely at the small school pricing.
And then Nita is the principal at Gruber. I think we're going to talk to you a sec.
Yeah, of course.
We have 135 students in our high school, and
okay.
It's the same amount in our junior high.
Okay, yeah, so you're also definitely small. And because you guys are both small, what I could probably do is combine the setup fees between the two. So instead of both of you having to pay like $1,200 each, what I could probably do is just knock it down to $1,200 for the two for 1 year. So each district would only have setup fees, the one-time setup fees of $600 each. So that'll help save a significant chunk of money.
So, and you said it was $1,500, and there's an additional fee per student on top of that?
Oh, no. No, there's no additional. It's just $1,500 per year. There's a one-time setup fee, and I'm going to lob that in half. If you guys want to go together, they let us do deals like that to try to encourage districts to bring on other districts. So, yeah, there's a one-time setup fee of $800 per high school and $400 per middle school, but I'll cut that in half if you guys are both signing on because it saves us time and money to do it that way as well.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but then the ongoing annual cost is $1,500 per year. And our renewal seems really good. I know some companies just jack prices up year to year. We don't do that.
So when you work with us to customize this, how much time are we looking at to work with you and get all of this customized for our school?
Very good question. So the basics of the program we can have online tomorrow. That's all of kind of the basic stuff that you would see, like the assessments, the career information, education. For the more customizable portions of it, like the course planner and the application tracker, Those things take a bit longer. It's up to your IT team how long it takes. We can get it done realistically within a month, but that means that everybody would have to go through all of the trainings, and there's about 4 hours. It also means that your IT team will have to work with us within that time frame to get things up and running, and a lot of the times the IT people are quite busy with other things. So it is completely dependent on you guys and how quickly you want it or need it to be set up.
Okay.
I would say a realistic time frame to have everything up and running would be about 2 months, and that's if you guys are working well with us. We could have it quicker if it's important to have it up quicker, or it could take longer if it takes us the time to get the files that we need from the appropriate contacts.
Okay.
But yeah, but you can have the basic bits of it running right away. And you can even have we can get the course planning portion of it up and running pretty quickly as well, as long as we get your handbook information from you quickly.
Okay. Thank you.
There are some other things that I haven't gone over with you that you'll probably enjoy. We have a partnership with SurveyMonkey, so if you guys use SurveyMonkey already, you can save some money on your subscription, because I know they charge for each survey, or you pay like $250 per school. So that's incorporated into the price. You already get it with our program, and if you've already got an account, you can kind of merge your account with this one so that you don't lose any of your surveys. And you can customize grad surveys, exit surveys, things like that, and track the results and things. So very neat that we've made that partnership. We also have alumni backing. So we are in the beta testing phases of that right now. We've already signed the contract. It's just can't show it to you because they're still finalizing and working out the bugs. We're working with a number of districts that are trialing it for us, but that's something that you would have by next year. And I'm trying to think of some other things. Some other just little things. Obviously, it's important to keep students on track with dates, deadlines. We've got a calendar built in that updates in real time. So if you know of any upcoming dates or deadlines for like college applications or maybe a college rep visit, anything you want to keep the students up to date with, they'll get an alert here, and it'll also send them an alert to their external emails as well, so that they get a number of different alerts to keep them on track with things. They can also upload files and things to their portfolio if they have any important documents or videos or things that they want to upload, and you guys can upload any assignments or activities for them as well here. So lots of other little capabilities within the program. If they're updating their resume, it'll keep their activities and experiences section up to date for them as well. It pulls right from their resume. So as long as their resume is up to date, their whole portfolio will be up to date with them, which is kind of cool as well.
You had spoke briefly about that parents can access and look at things.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, and I apologize. I just switched laptops, so I don't remember what the link is for it, but usually I could show it to you. But it's basically a parent engagement portal. So when your parents sign on, they'll get their own login so that they can go in and, they can jump in and see their kids' portfolio in a read-only version. We don't want parents to be able to come in and make changes on behalf of the student because we really want this to be student-owned. But they can come in and click through these different sections, see what kind of careers my kid's interested in or what their assessment results were, and they can make all notes below things for the students as well. They also will have a list of any relevant teachers or advisors that are connected to their child, so they'll be able to send messages back and forth to the advisors. And they can also have access to career quizzing themselves, so if they're interested in going in and taking the assessments and seeing what they get, they get that access through the parent portal. So just kind of a way to keep them up to speed.
They cannot change the
No, we don't. Yeah, we've set it up that way because most districts don't want them to be able to make changes. Yeah. And all of this is shareable as well. So let's say the student knows they have an upcoming interview with a college or university. They can click to share their plan with that person. I want to invite a guest view of my plan. Oops, not this one. Invite others to view my plan. So they can actually specify who they want to send this to, how long they want that guest view to be active, because obviously you don't want them to be able to access their portfolio indefinitely. They can add a little message and then pick and choose which sections of their portfolio that they want to share. So it's kind of neat. I can actually send a link to an outside person to say, hey, come have a look at what I've been working on, and it'll give them that link that's activated until the date that they've specified. So lots of different ways that other people can kind of stay connected with what they're doing as well. And then the last thing, Darlene, I don't even remember if I covered this with you because it's not really relevant to counseling, but it does fit in really well with dollar cents classes. It's used a lot in Texas that comes along as a freebie, is the Real Game. So it's an entire curriculum. It's already pre-planned with lesson guides and things as well as classroom resources. And it's like a big online game of life for the students. They get to basically role play a career in real life situations. So every unit has them cope with something that they would come across in real life. In one unit, they lose their job. They have to update their resume and go through a mock interview. In another unit, they learn all about equality within the workplace, or they plan a trip with a friend. In one of my favorite units, they get to go through a wish list of items, what they want their absolute ideal lifestyle to look like. So what kind of house do I want to have? Am I planning to buy or do I want to rent? What kind of car do I want to drive? And they can pick everything from a high-end import to a scratch and dent special. I can buy it new or used, or in this case, it's more. Those kids picked a convertible. They can pick leisure items, anything that they want on here, sport boats, fishing boats, even things like laptops and smartphones and things that they don't realize cost money. Pets cost money. Then they come down to leisure activities, which also cost money. And you have to specify how much time per week you want to spend doing these things. And it's funny what their perception of available hours in the day is. Time management is one of the other units. A lot of kids don't realize if you're working for 8 to 10 hours a day or sleeping for 8 hours a day, it doesn't leave a lot of free time. And then when they're finished with the wish list, they come to a unit called reality check, which I'm sure you can imagine is exactly as it says. They'll get a fake pay slip given to them by their teacher. They'll have to put their tax deductions down. They'll have to put some amount on each towards savings. They may come across chance cards for make or lose money. And you can see here the student for this month is $6,000 in the red. So they won't be able to actually successfully complete this unit until the number's in the black and they've pulled themselves to the red. They have to go through their expenses, go back and remove things from their wish list. So kind of a neat program, and because it is all already planned and ready to go, it's a popular one amongst teachers who are teaching things like dollars and cents classes because it pretty much touches on everything that they need to, and it's already set and ready to go for them. So again, that's just a little perk as well that you get for free with the program.
That's, yeah, half of.
So any thoughts, concerns? I know a lot of times people are far too nice to say anything negative, but what are some things that you guys might be apprehensive about the program, or something you were hoping to see that maybe I didn't cover, so that I can hopefully dismiss any concerns now?
Everyone's shaking their head no.
Well, that's good. We also have, as I mentioned, we have a ton of clients across Texas, many of which use the SIS Texas. So if you guys want to talk to anyone with similar size district or anyone in the same region or anything like that, I can certainly connect you to people, because it's easy enough for me to sing the program praises, but I know sometimes folks want to hear it from other people who've used it. But it is a good program. I purposely took this job at this company because I really liked what they did. But yeah, so no hidden fees, no anything like that, because I know that question came up a lot. The pricing would be for each district, because you guys are both small and I'm halving the one-time fees. For year one, you'd be looking at $1,500 plus that one-time $600 fee. And then for year two onwards, you're looking at just the $1,500.
So on your price quote, it says Success Services is $400.
What about success? Oh, did you hear?
No, sorry, I missed that question.
On the price quote, I put off the price quote we had, it says Success Services for $400.
Oh, then maybe I already have them for you. Okay, good stuff. I don't remember what the pricing that we talked about was. So I must have taken a lot off, because our typical pricing is $800 for a high school and, oh, wait, do you only have one school at the district?
We have the same address.
Oh, okay, that's why I did it. Yeah, okay, I've already halved the services for you then, because it's either $800 per building or $800 per district. So I would have already halved that. Is the other district the same? Was it Gruber?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So there you go.
So the Success Services is the training.
Success Services is the training, or Success Services?
Yeah, Success Services is just a general term to encapsulate everything. So that's the setup, the training, the success manager themselves. So that person, you get one. I know it can be annoying to call in and get a different person every time when you have account inquiries. We hate that, so we've assigned one person to each account. We have a Texas specialist. His name's Marco, so he'll be your success manager, and he'll be the only one that you'll need to talk to. You also have me, but I'm not as technical as he is. And then for some easier inquiries, you also get our client services. So if you just want to call in and you forgot your password or something, they're the ones that you'd go to. And that's all incorporated into the price. You also get tech support anytime you need it as well, for free.
Okay, I think we're good for now.
Good stuff. Do you guys know, obviously we're right in the thick of course planning and stuff right now, so I'm guessing it's something that you would like to get up and running soon. Do you know what your timeline's looking like?
I'll just have to sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
And if we get going by the spring, for sure, I would think both of us would want to.
Yeah, well, what I was going to suggest is if you want to get set up early, we can get you set up right away and put you on kind of a January to January cycle. So ultimately that means that you'd be getting November and December for free. And you'd renew in January 2017.
Can you sign multi-year contract?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we get current rate pricing in that, or?
We can't go any lower on the pricing, but it does lock you in on that pricing. I can try to see if I can squeeze a bit more of a discount in. I'd have to ask on that, though. What kind of term would you be looking for? 3 year?
At least 2.
At least 2.
At least 2? Okay. I know for a fact if you pay up front that we can do a discount. I don't know if you wanted to pay annually if that's possible, but I can look into it for you.
Okay.
Like we might even just be able to waive the setup fees or something for you.
Okay.
So I will check into that, and obviously you guys need me to put down some proposals. Could I get the contact, or actually I guess Darlene, would you mind sharing me everyone's contacts after the meeting so I can send some follow-up information?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and if anyone has any other questions for me, please let me know. Darlene, you can share my email and phone number with everyone.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Excellent. And, yeah, thank you everyone very much. You guys are a great group. Darlene, when's a good time to reconnect with you and follow up on kind of next steps or figure out which direction everyone's going in?
Maybe midweek next week.
Midweek next week? Okay. I'll be down in Texas all next week visiting with a number of regions as well as Irving, Waco, and Corpus Christi. So I'm all over the map there, but I'll try to call from the road.
I would be curious as to know if there's a small school district in this area already using it.
Okay, yeah, can you get us a list of Region 16 schools using it? Maybe
I'm just pulling that up for you now. Let me have a look. Hang on. Region 16. So in Region 16, we have a number of them. We have, pardon my pronunciation of some of these ones, Adrian, Booker, Borger? Yeah, Bushland, Canning, Clarendon, Claude, Darzet, Dumas, Farewell, Follett. Freona uses the whole thing. Gruyere, I believe, uses the whole thing. Perryton, ISD, a whole bunch of them. They're using the basic version of the program, which we don't really offer anymore. They're just kind of grandfathered in. But some of the stronger users, I would say, are Freona and Perryton.
What? She's just listing all this detail. Oh, you think that's just a list of?
Region 16, or is it the ones?
No. These are people who are using our program.
Did you say Groover, Gruver?
No, B-O-R-G-E-R, Borger. Oh yeah, Groover, G-U-V-E-R. They are using us as well.
You have that program. They're here.
Oh, okay. They have our basic then. Hang on, let me look. This list might be outdated. I'm going off of a list that a past colleague gave me. Let me look up the account. Oh, no, you know what? The middle school had a subscription, but it was only until September of 2014, so they no longer have us. I need to update this. But ones that are definitely using us, and they're using the full program, like everything, including the course planner and everything, within your region, Borger ISD, Perryton ISD, and there are likely a couple others that aren't updated on this list because this looks like it hasn't updated since 2014. Some of the surrounding regions, I don't know if you guys are close by 17, but like Levelland, Littlefield, Hale Center, Denver City, Idalou. Those ones are all on our full program as well.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got oh my gosh, over 1,400 schools use us. Not all of them are on the full program, but I'd say a good 600 or so of them are. So if you want to talk to any small ones that are similar in size to you guys that are using it, that have the same student information system, I can get a list together for you.
Okay, so when you say not the full program, is that just maybe the interest inventories that others are using?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like we used to sell things a la carte, if you will. So we let people just sign on for the assessments and the career profiles, or just sign on for the assessments and course planning. But we are very, very around the corner from releasing a new version of the program. Really excited about it because it's way better. This interface, in my opinion, is outdated. So that's due to be released next year. So within the new interface, we couldn't piece it together, so we're trying to move away from that. So anyone who's using the basic program was just kind of grandfathered in on it.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I will look forward to connecting with you next week, Arlene, and please, if anyone has any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact me. I have my email tied to my phone, so I'm pretty much available anytime.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Darlene, what we'll want to do is